The summer heat of Atlanta clung to the air like a heavy blanket as Marcus Johnson walked home from the auto shop where he worked long hours. Sweat streaked down his dark brown skin, and his calloused hands carried the weight of grease and exhaustion. At 34, Marcus was not the man he once dreamed of becoming. As a teenager, he had dreamed of college, business ventures, and traveling the world. But life had taken another route. Raised in a small 2-bedroom apartment on the South Side, Marcus had been the eldest of 4 siblings. His father had walked out when he was just 16, leaving his mother to raise the family alone. Overnight, Marcus had gone from a high school kid with ambitions to a man forced into responsibility. He took odd jobs, washing cars, fixing bicycles, and running errands, just to help pay rent and buy food. His mother, Gloria Johnson, often looked at him with tired eyes. "Marcus, baby, you're all I got now. Your brothers and sister need you. Just hold on for me." And he held on. He never complained, even when his younger siblings mocked him for not being as stylish as their friends. While they wore the newest sneakers, Marcus walked in worn-out shoes. While they went out to parties, he worked double shifts at the corner store. Now, years later, not much had changed. His younger brother Terrence had drifted into trouble, chasing fast money on the streets. His sister Renee spent most of her time depending on Marcus to pay her bills. And his youngest brother Daryl, though in college, often called home for a little help with tuition, which always meant Marcus had to dip into his savings. As Marcus reached his apartment building that evening, a group of neighborhood kids ran past him laughing. He smiled faintly, remembering when he too had laughed that freely before responsibility had stolen his youth. Inside his small apartment, Gloria was sitting at the kitchen table folding laundry. "Long day, huh?" she asked softly. Marcus leaned against the door frame, forcing a tired smile. "Same as always, Ma. But we made it through." Gloria's eyes watered with quiet gratitude, but Marcus noticed the bills stacked on the counter. His chest tightened. He knew tomorrow he would have to figure out how to pay them, again. For Marcus, sacrifice had become second nature. Yet in the quiet of his room that night, he stared at the ceiling and whispered to himself, "When will it be my turn to live?" The next morning, Marcus rose before the sun. His alarm clock hadn't even gone off, but years of waking up early for work had trained his body to rise with the dawn. He sat on the edge of his bed, rubbing his temples, the weight of another day already pressing down on him. The sound of his mother's voice drifted from the kitchen. "Marcus, baby, you up already?" He pulled on his work boots and stepped out. "Yeah, Ma. Got an early repair to handle before the shop fills up." Gloria placed a plate of scrambled eggs and toast on the table. "Eat something first. You can't keep running on empty like this." Marcus sat down but barely touched the food. His eyes kept drifting to the bills piled in a corner, envelopes that seemed to multiply every week. Gloria noticed and sighed. "I'm sorry, son. If I had done better." "Don't," Marcus interrupted gently. "You did everything you could. It's on me now. I'll figure it out." Later that day, as he worked under the hood of an old sedan, his phone buzzed. It was Renee. He wiped his hands on a rag and answered. "Marcus," she said, her voice hurried. "My rent's due today. If I don't pay, they'll kick me out." Marcus closed his eyes. "Renee, I just helped you last month." I know, she pleaded. "But things are hard right now. I promise I'll pay you back." He chuckled bitterly. "She never does." "All right, I'll see what I can do," he said finally, knowing it meant cutting into the little money he'd saved for himself. Not long after, another call came, this time from Daryl. "Big bro, I'm short on tuition again. Can you send something?" Marcus clenched his jaw. "Daryl, I already sent you money last week." "I know, but textbooks and fees came up. Please, man. You don't want me dropping out, do you?" Marcus sighed deeply. I'll handle it. When he hung up, he felt his chest tighten. The pressure was constant, like trying to hold the world on his shoulders while everyone else piled more weight on top. That evening, Terence showed up at the shop. His flashy gold chain and expensive sneakers screamed of street money. He slapped Marcus on the back. Man, you're still slaving here? You should roll with me, bro. I got cash flowing. Marcus frowned. That kind of money doesn't last, Terence. One day it'll catch up with you. Terence smirked. Better than being broke and everybody's wallet. Marcus didn't respond. He just bent his head back under the hood, hiding the sting of those words. When he finally returned home late at night, he found Gloria asleep on the couch, the TV still on. He covered her with a blanket, then sat alone in the quiet. His phone buzzed again with another text. Don't forget the rent, Marcus. Please. He set the phone down and buried his face in his hands. Sacrifice was all he knew, but the burden was slowly eating away at his spirit. The city lights of Atlanta flickered through the thin curtains as Marcus lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The house was quiet, but his mind was noisy. Numbers and bills swirled in his head: rent, utilities, car repairs, Renee's apartment, Daryl's tuition. He had been carrying the family for so long that sometimes he forgot what his own dreams were. The next morning at the auto shop, Marcus tried to bury his worries under the rhythm of his work. Engines were predictable, they broke down, and with patience, they could be fixed. People, however, were not so simple. His co-worker, James, noticed the tension on Marcus's face. Man, you look like you've been carrying a whole city on your back. Marcus gave a tired smile. Feels about right. Let me guess, James said, wiping his hands. Family again? Marcus nodded. Always family. James shook his head. You gotta live for yourself too, bro. If you don't, nobody's gonna do it for you. But Marcus brushed the advice aside. He had heard it before, yet his loyalty to his family was stronger than any warning. That evening, Renee showed up at his apartment unannounced. Her nails were freshly done, and her hair styled. She carried shopping bags, even though she had just begged him for rent money. Marcus stared at her, disbelief clouding his face. Renee, where'd you get all this? She waved her hand. Don't worry about it. A girl's gotta look good, you know? Anyway, did you pay my rent? His jaw tightened. I gave you money to survive, not to play dress up. Renee rolled her eyes. Here we go again. You always act like you're better than us because you're the one paying the bills. Marcus slammed his fist on the table, startling both Renee and Gloria. Do you even hear yourself? I've sacrificed everything for this family, and all I get is disrespect. The room fell silent. Gloria whispered, Marcus, calm down. But he couldn't. Years of swallowed anger were bubbling up. I could have gone to college. I could have built a life for myself. Instead, I stayed, worked, and gave you everything. And this is how you treat me. Renee folded her arms. Nobody forced you. You chose this. Her words cut deep. Marcus felt like someone had twisted a knife in his chest. Maybe she was right. Maybe he had chosen this path. But wasn't sacrifice supposed to mean something? Wasn't family supposed to see the love behind it? Later that night, Marcus sat alone on the front porch, watching the streetlights buzz. His hands trembled with frustration and pain. He whispered to himself, they don't even see me. To them, I'm just a provider, not a person. The silence around him was heavy, pressing in on his chest. For the first time, Marcus wondered if his sacrifices had been in vain. Sunday dinners at the Johnson household were supposed to be sacred, a time for family to gather, eat, and talk about the week. But lately, those dinners felt more like battlegrounds than reunions. Marcus sat at the head of the table, staring at the plates of fried chicken, collard greens, and cornbread Gloria had prepared. Renee scrolled through her phone, Daryl texted under the table, and Terrence strolled in late, carrying the smell of weed and trouble. Gloria tried to lighten the mood. We're blessed to be together, no matter what. Family is family. Marcus forced a smile, but the knot in his stomach tightened. Halfway through the meal, Terrence leaned back in his chair. So, Marcus, you still wasting your life at that dusty auto shop? Marcus put his fork down. It's an honest living. Terrence smirked. Honest don't pay big. You break your back while the rest of us move up. I mean, look at me. I got money flowing, and I don't gotta beg nobody for it. Marcus's hands curled into fists. You call dirty money moving up? One day, that life is gonna drag you down. Renee chimed in, her voice sharp. Marcus, stop acting like you're our father. You're not. You chose to take responsibility, but that doesn't mean you get to lecture us. The room fell silent, and Gloria looked down at her plate. Marcus felt the words pierce deeper than he expected. I stepped up because nobody else did, he said quietly. When Dad left, who kept the lights on? Who made sure you had clothes for school? Who? Yeah, Renee cut him off. We've heard this story 1,000 times. You think we owe you our lives because you worked a few extra shifts. Marcus's chest burned. A few extra shifts? Renee, I gave up my entire future. While my friends went to college, I was here, making sure y'all survived. And all I get is attitude. Daryl finally spoke, his voice hesitant. We didn't ask you to give up your future, Marcus. That was your choice. Those words broke something inside him. The people he had sacrificed everything for saw his life's work as nothing more than a personal decision, not an act of love. He pushed his chair back, the legs scraping harshly against the floor. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe it was my choice. But don't you dare act like you didn't benefit from it. Gloria whispered, Marcus, please, sit down. But he was already on his feet, his chest heaving. He looked at each of them, his voice low but firm. One day, you'll understand what it costs to carry everyone on your back. And when that day comes, I hope you remember me. Marcus left the table and stepped out into the night air. The laughter of neighbors echoed down the block, but his own house was filled with bitterness. For the first time, Marcus felt the foundation of his loyalty cracking. The love that had once fueled his sacrifices now felt poisoned by resentment. The week after that dinner, Marcus threw himself into work, trying to drown the bitterness that lingered in his chest. The auto shop became his refuge. He worked long hours, taking on extra repairs, even when his body screamed for rest. But no amount of grease or engine noise could quiet the echo of his siblings' words. We didn't ask you to give up your future. One Friday evening, as he was closing the shop, Renee called again. Her voice was frantic. Marcus, I need you to send me money tonight. Please, I'm behind again. Marcus gritted his teeth. Renee, I just helped you. What happened this time? She hesitated. I went shopping. But I swear I'll make it up to you. Marcus clenched his jaw. You're not struggling, Renee. You're reckless. And I can't keep fixing your mistakes. Her tone turned sharp. Wow. So now you want to act brand new. After all these years of helping, you're gonna throw it in my face. Before he could respond, she hung up. Minutes later, Daryl texted, Big bro, the bursar's office says they'll drop me from classes if I don't pay by Monday. Can you help? Marcus typed slowly, Daryl, I'm broke too. I can't cover everything anymore. The reply came fast. So you're just gonna let me fail? You're selfish, Marcus. The word stung like acid. Selfish. The very word nobody had ever dared call him. That night, Marcus came home to find Terence waiting outside the building, pacing. His brother's eyes darted around nervously. "Marcus, I need a favor. I owe some people money, and if I don't pay, it's gonna get ugly." Marcus's chest tightened. "Terence, no. I'm not covering your mess. You chose that life." Terence grabbed his arm. "You're all I got, man. If you don't help me, I'm done." Marcus yanked his arm free. For years, he had been the crutch they leaned on. But tonight, his strength felt depleted. "You all take and take until there's nothing left of me. I can't keep saving you." Terence's eyes hardened. "So that's it. After everything, you're just gonna let me crash." Marcus's voice cracked, his emotions spilling over. "What about me, Terence? Who's ever saved me?" The silence between them was heavy. Terence muttered something under his breath and walked away, leaving Marcus trembling on the sidewalk. When he went inside, Gloria was waiting in the living room. She reached for his hand, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Baby, don't be too hard on them. They're still young, still finding their way." Marcus pulled his hand back, his voice sharp. "And what about me, Ma? When do I get to find my way? When do I get to live for myself?" Tears filled Gloria's eyes. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Marcus stormed into his room and slammed the door. For the first time in his life, Marcus felt something he had never allowed himself to feel before. Anger not just at his siblings, but at himself. He had given everything, but in return, he was left with nothing but emptiness. That night, staring at the ceiling once again, Marcus whispered, "If I keep living like this, I'm going to lose myself completely." And with that realization, something inside him broke. The morning after his outburst, Marcus woke with swollen eyes and a heavy chest. For years, he had carried his family's burdens like armor, convincing himself it was his duty. But now, that armor felt like chains. At the shop that day, James noticed Marcus moving slower than usual. "Man, you look like somebody dropped the whole world on your shoulders." Marcus gave a dry laugh. "Feels about right." James leaned against the workbench, wiping his hands. "I've been telling you, Marcus, you can't keep giving until there's nothing left. You gotta think about yourself." For the first time, Marcus didn't push the words aside. They sank in, deep and uncomfortable. That evening, instead of going straight home, Marcus walked into a small community center 2 blocks from the shop. A flyer on the bulletin board had caught his eye earlier: Financial Planning and Small Business Workshop, free entry. He hesitated at the door, feeling out of place among the younger crowd. But then a woman about his age, neatly dressed and carrying a warm smile, walked up. "First time here?" "Yeah," Marcus replied quietly. "I'm Angela Brooks," she said, extending her hand. "Don't worry, you'll fit right in. We all came here looking for a fresh start." Something about her words struck him. A fresh start. Marcus hadn't even realized he needed one until that moment. Throughout the workshop, he listened intently as the speaker explained how to build savings, manage debt, and even start small side businesses. For once, Marcus wasn't thinking about Renee's rent, Daryl's tuition, or Terence's debts. He was thinking about himself. Afterward, Angela caught up with him again. "You're really focused. Most people just nod and drift off, but you looked like you were taking it all in." Marcus smiled faintly. "I guess I'm just tired of being stuck." Angela tilted her head. "Then maybe it's time to stop letting people keep you stuck." Her words lingered with him all night. The next week, Marcus started setting boundaries. When Renee called again, he answered firmly. "Renee, I can't keep paying your bills. You need to find another way." Her gasp was sharp. "Are you serious? After everything you've done, you're just going to abandon me now?" Marcus's voice shook, but he held steady. "No, Renee. I'm not abandoning you. I'm choosing me. She hung up, furious, but Marcus felt a strange sense of freedom in the silence that followed. With Daryl, he was gentler. Little bro, I love you, but I can't be your bank anymore. You're smart. Find a part-time job, apply for scholarships. I believe in you, but I can't carry you. And when Terrence showed up one night demanding money again, Marcus stood his ground. No, I won't fund destruction. If you want help, it has to be to get clean, not deeper in. Terrence cursed and stormed out, but Marcus didn't chase him this time. That night, Marcus sat at his small kitchen table, alone but strangely lighter. For the first time in years, he wasn't drowning under everyone else's needs. He whispered to himself, "This is the beginning of me." Weeks passed, and Marcus felt the shift in his life. For the first time, he was not rushing to put out fires for his siblings. The calls and texts kept coming, but his answer stayed the same, "I can't this time." Each no was a small victory, a brick laid in the foundation of his new life. At the auto shop, he began saving more from his paycheck. Instead of wiring money away, he opened a new savings account, something he hadn't had in years. He even started putting a few dollars aside every week toward a dream he had long buried, owning his own garage one day. Angela continued to see him at the community center. They would sit after the workshops, talking about life, dreams, and disappointments. "You know," Angela said one evening, "you have leadership written all over you. You just never claimed it for yourself." Marcus chuckled. "Leadership? I've been everybody's mule, not a leader." Angela smiled knowingly. "Carrying people, holding them up, that's leadership. But now it's time to lead yourself." Those words stuck with him. Soon, Marcus began exploring side jobs, doing private car repairs out of his small apartment lot. Word spread quickly in the neighborhood. Customers liked his honesty and affordable rates. He'd come home tired but fulfilled, money in his pocket that wasn't already claimed by someone else's problems. One Saturday afternoon, as he worked on a neighbor's old pickup, Gloria came outside with a glass of sweet tea. She watched him quietly before speaking. "Baby, I see what you're doing. You're changing." Marcus paused, wiping sweat from his brow. "Is that a bad thing?" Gloria shook her head slowly. "No, it's just different. You've given so much to this family. I didn't realize how much it was costing you. Maybe it's time you had something for yourself." Her words warmed him. For years, she had unintentionally fueled his sacrifices, but now even she was beginning to see the truth. Meanwhile, Renee's rent went unpaid, and she was forced to downsize into a smaller apartment. Daryl got a part-time job at the campus library, learning to budget for himself. And Terrence, after one too many brushes with danger, began showing signs of regret. Though their struggles hurt Marcus to witness, he resisted the urge to fix everything. Instead, he stood back and let them face the consequences of their choices. For once, he was not their savior. One evening, Angela asked him, "How does it feel?" Marcus thought for a moment. "It feels like I'm finally breathing." And he meant it. The shadows of sacrifice no longer swallowed him whole. He was rising, slowly, steadily, but surely, into the man he was always meant to be. By winter, the air in Atlanta had grown sharp and cold, but Marcus felt lighter than ever. His side jobs were steady, his savings account was growing, and for the first time in years, he could walk past a store window and imagine buying something for himself without guilt. But just as his life was turning upward, his family's lives began spiraling downward. Renee showed up at his apartment one evening, her eyes red from crying. She no longer had her polished nails or fresh hairstyles. Her clothes looked worn. "Marcus," she whispered, her voice trembling, "they evicted me. I got nowhere to go." Marcus leaned against the doorway, his heart heavy. A part of him wanted to say yes, to let her move in like old times. But another part, the stronger part, remembered Angela's words. You can't keep letting people keep you stuck. I'm sorry, Renee, he said gently. I can help you find a shelter or a program, but you can't move in here. I'm building something, and I can't go back. Her eyes widened. You're really gonna leave me out here like this? After all, I'm your sister. Marcus swallowed hard. I'm not leaving you, Renee. I'm helping you stand. She stormed off in anger, but Marcus held his ground. Not long after, Daryl called, his voice weary. Marcus, I got 2 jobs now. I'm barely sleeping. I didn't know it'd be this hard. Marcus's heart ached for his youngest brother, but he reminded him softly, this is what being a man is, Daryl. It's hard, but it makes you strong. You'll be all right. Even Terence, who once mocked Marcus's honest work, came knocking late one night. His shoulders were slumped, and the swagger was gone. Man, I messed up. I owe people money I can't pay. I thought I had it all figured out, but I was wrong. Marcus studied him carefully. So what do you want from me? Terence lowered his gaze. Not money. Just help me get out. Teach me what you're doing. I don't want to live like this anymore. For the first time, Marcus saw humility in his brother's eyes. All right, Marcus said slowly. But you gotta do the work. No shortcuts. Terence nodded eagerly. As weeks passed, Marcus noticed the shift. His family, who once saw him as just a provider, was beginning to see him as something else. A man who had built strength through sacrifice, and who refused to be broken by it. One Sunday, Gloria looked around the dinner table. Though the food was simpler now, the air felt different. Renee was quieter, Daryl more mature, and Terence actually respectful. Gloria turned to Marcus, her eyes glistening. Baby, I see it now. You weren't just carrying us, you were showing us the way. We just didn't want to see it. Marcus exhaled deeply, a mixture of relief and sorrow. All I ever wanted was for us to be all right. But I can't carry everyone forever. For the first time, his words weren't met with resistance. His family was listening. The tables had turned. Marcus was no longer just the mule carrying the load. He was the example, the backbone, the mirror that showed his family who they could become. Marcus sat at his small kitchen table one evening, the hum of the refrigerator filling the silence. In front of him lay 2 envelopes, one with his savings, the other with bills his siblings had left on his doorstep. Old habits tugged at him, whispering to open the savings and sacrifice again. But a new voice, stronger now, rose inside him. If you give everything again, you'll lose yourself. Angela stopped by with dinner, as she sometimes did. She noticed the envelopes and raised an eyebrow. You look like a man standing at a crossroads. Marcus sighed. It's my family. They're struggling, and part of me wants to step back in. But if I do, I'll fall right back into the same trap. Angela placed a gentle hand on his. Marcus, helping isn't wrong. But there's a difference between saving someone and enabling them. Which do you want to do? Her words settled deep. He realized this was the choice he had avoided for years, whether to keep sacrificing blindly or to guide his family in a way that didn't destroy him. That Sunday, he called everyone together. Renee, Daryl, Terence, and Gloria sat in the living room, waiting. Marcus stood tall, his voice steady. I love you all. I've spent my whole life making sure you were all right. But I can't keep carrying everyone on my back. From now on, if I help, it won't be with handouts. It'll be with tools, advice, opportunities, but not my life anymore. Renee shifted uncomfortably. So what? You're just cutting us off. Marcus shook his head. No. I'm showing you how to stand on your own. Because one day, I won't be here. And if you've never learned to stand, what will you do? The room fell silent. For the first time, instead of arguing, they listened. Spring came to Atlanta with blooming dogwoods and warm breezes. Marcus stood outside his very own garage, a small but proud auto shop he had finally leased with his savings. A new sign hung above the door, Johnson & Sons Auto Repair. Terrence swept the floor inside, wearing a work shirt instead of flashy chains. Daryl helped manage the books, learning responsibility the hard way. Even Renee, though still stubborn, had found a job and was slowly paying her way. Gloria sat in a lawn chair outside the shop, beaming with pride. "Baby, you did it. You built this." Marcus smiled, wiping his greasy hands on a rag. "No, Ma. We're building this." Later that evening, as the sun dipped low, Angela stopped by. She looked around the shop, then at Marcus. "You finally claimed your life." Marcus nodded. "For too long, I thought love meant losing myself for others. But now I know real love means lifting others without destroying yourself." Angela's smile widened. "That's wisdom, Marcus. And now you're free." That night, as Marcus walked home with Gloria by his side, the city lights sparkled brighter than ever. The man who once whispered, "When will it be my turn to live?" finally had his answer. It was his turn now. A new dawn had come, not just for Marcus, but for his whole family.